Hello, everybody. Uh, Thank you for joining us for Straps Pride's Let's Talk One-on-One. Today, we're going to be talking to Terry McCranie about his work. He's a portrait photographer here in the DFW area. So let's get started. Hey, Terry, how are you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on.
How's your day been so far?
Oh, doing everything I can to avoid the intense heat that is the outdoors right now.
Yeah, it is. It's something different out there. Thank you for joining us today. We crossed paths a couple times over the past couple years, and I've enjoyed all your work as far as photography. Seeing it on Facebook, and then you sharing the different projects you're working on. And recently, I've noticed a lot of more videos from TikTok that you've been sharing that have some very good messages in them that we don't often see in our community being shared from people in our community. It's just not that many people feel similarly. It just not shared as often broadly to everybody. Um, so go ahead and actually introduce yourself with your name, pronouns, and a little bit about yourself.
Alrighty. Well, I am Terry McCranie. I am a portrait photographer based out of the Dallas area. He, him are my pronouns. And I love documenting life. I would say stumbled into photography. I kind of made the venture over from being a hobbyist photographer to doing it as an actual career back in 2017. Uh, with my goal being, I want to help people see themselves in the way I see them, because there's so many people that just when they look in the mirror, they talk down on themselves. They'll say just all these negative things about themselves. They'll avoid photography because they're just afraid of, like, oh, I'm too fat, I'm not good enough, no one wants to see photos of me and stuff like that. And it breaks my heart. And so I wanted to create an environment in which I could help people have great portraits of themselves, but also show them that they're good enough as they are, and that they're really beating themselves down, and help them really come into their own empowerment to be happy, or at least be content in their own skin, so that that confidence can spread to all areas of their life. So that's really what has got me and kept me going in the photography world. When I don't have a camera in my hand, I'm either involved in music. I enjoy hiking and stuff, when it's not 8 billion degrees outside. But I do, lately I've enjoyed getting out into the outdoors a little bit more. And that's really what my life is these days.
I'm going to go ahead and share briefly some clips from TikTok of yours that I really enjoyed and thought are worth sharing.
Okay.
Hey, how you doing? Hope you're having an amazing day. So if you use terms like gold star gay, platinum gay, just know that there's a lot of transphobia wrapped around that. Not all men have penises. Trans men exist, and they are men. You make comments about being a gold star gay or being a platinum gay. That doesn't really make trans men feel real good about themselves. They're not going to feel safe with you. So I get it. If you have a preference for penis, like, that's part of what you enjoy when you have the happy fun times. I get that, but just understand there's a lot of transphobia wrapped around that. So have an amazing day.
And tell me kind of how did that particular clip came about?
So as I've spent a lot more time really educating myself around the trans experience, because as a cis guy, I didn't have a lot of exposure to it. And it hasn't really been until the last couple of years that the trans community has really kind of made it into the limelight. Like everyone knew they existed. They were part of the alphabet mafia. But a lot of people just kind of pushed them off to the side, especially as we were fighting for equal rights under protection of the laws and stuff. And so as I've dug more into it, educated myself more, I kept coming across these kind of terms when I would, very predominantly other cis gay males would make these kind of comments. And before I really got into educating myself and really understanding it, I used to just kind of laugh and go along with it because I didn't realize how hurtful those phrases actually could be interpreted, because it wasn't something that I had been exposed to. But now when I hear it's, I try to help people to see that you're making well, I don't want to generalize, but very possibly you're going to make trans individuals, trans men, uncomfortable because you're basing your gay status around whether or not you have engaged in sexual activity with someone that only has a penis, which, I mean, short of having gone through bottom surgery, there's a lot of trans men that don't have a penis, but they're still men all the same. And so it's a very problematic phrase. And so that's really what spawned that. Just hearing it come up over and over again and just trying to help educate why we should stop using that type of vernacular, especially if you say that you are an ally to the trans community.
Exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and play the other two real quick.
Hey, how you doing? I hope you're having a fantastic day. So I get it. There's gonna be days where you just hate your body. There's gonna be things you're gonna see, you're gonna look at in the mirror, stretch marks and acne and weird scars and stuff, just and all these little things that you pick apart because you see them as imperfections. But really, those tell the story of you. Like all these little things about us, there are things that make our body unique and just ours that no one else has. That is why you are so amazing, because your body gets to tell the story of your life, what you've been through, what you've survived, because you're here. If you're seeing this, you have survived. Life can be hard, but it's worth it. Have an amazing day. Hey, how you doing? I hope you're having a fantastic day. Do you ever find yourself just sitting around and saying things like, I'm ugly, I am not attractive, I'm not good enough, no one is ever gonna want to be with me, and I am just not good enough? Know that that is somebody else's voice living in your head. You are giving someone else power over your self-esteem and how you feel about yourself. So when you find yourself in front of the mirror, say this instead. You are good enough. You are smart. You are attractive. You are a badass fucker that is going to go rule the world. Stop letting those negative voices live inside your head. Someone else has put that there. We don't grow up thinking these negative things about ourselves. So, amazing thing.
As someone that has gone to therapy and worked through a lot of mental health issues, especially with um, body image and body dysmorphia. I greatly appreciate you sharing those messages because we don't hear it often from other people within our community, and it's very important that people understand that everyone's body's gonna look different. Everyone's just as equally as beautiful the way that they are, scars and all. I have a couple scars that I was always self-conscious about, and they're not like intrusive in how I see myself. It's just nitpicking of, oh, this scar, I wish it can go away. But like you said, it tells a story of where we've been and where we are and who we are. Um, did you have similar situations like that in your personal life that you've worked through to get to where you are to give these types of messages?
Oh yeah, absolutely. My weight has fluctuated all my life. At my heaviest, I was up to 265. At my lightest, I was at like 160, and I've been everywhere in between multiple times. And so, with the way that society dictates that you're only happy and healthy if you are at this weight, if you're this tall and this gender, and if you don't fit within that, then you're not going to be a happy person. So you've got to do this. And that weighed heavily on me, and it's a big part of why I yo-yoed for as long as I did, because I couldn't find that happiness. I'd lose weight, but I was losing weight in the wrong way and not for the right reasons, and so I'd end up putting it back on. So I very quickly started creating the message around, don't worry about what society deems as beautiful or as healthy. What's important more than anything is how you feel about yourself. Because if you can get yourself into a space where you're not speaking negative and hateful words to yourself, that's going to affect everything. So if you're wanting to lose weight for whatever your specific reasons are, like you're wanting to, you want to wear a medium shirt, or there's a very specific way that you want to dress, that is easier to attain when you're approaching it from a place where you're in a body neutral mindset. So whether you lose the weight or you gain weight, you're still happy, or maybe not happy every day, but you like yourself. You're not speaking hateful words. You're not living in this headspace of I'm not good enough, and no one's ever gonna like me if I don't look like this. I have talked with people that have the ideal body, but the links at which they go through to attain that are many times very unhealthy. I've talked with people that have like that perfect swimmer's build, but they starve themselves to get to that, or they spend 20 hours a week at the gym. And so there is, in other areas of their life, end up suffering because they're having to constantly play this game of, I have to measure up to what society says. And they're worried about what the outside world is telling them how to feel about themselves, rather than taking the time to internalize and figure out how do they feel about themselves. I mean, what is it that they want to be? I've met people that could run circles around me that by society standards, they're too fat to be happy. Like that's basically the way that they would be approached. But like they have better endurance than me. They're not on cholesterol medicine, and I have to take cholesterol medicine. So I mean, obviously that there's problems when people start tying weight to healthiness and stuff, because they're really not connected, and that's the way that we've been made to believe. So I just try to help people reach a point at which they're neutral. They like themselves when they look in the mirror. They like themselves when they're going out clothes shopping. They like themselves when they look at photos of themselves. And then on some days when they're just, everything is just put together perfect and they just are having a fantastic day where their hair is wonderful and their outfit is just perfectly coiffed. And they're just to the moon. Enjoy. Those are the magic days, but those don't last. And we have to approach it from a realistic way. We can't always be in that state of, I absolutely love myself and absolutely everything about it, because toxic positivity is just as bad as toxic negativity. And so you want to kind of land in the middle, like just like yourself and don't hate yourself. And that's really where I try to go with that message, and everyone that I work with when they come in.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and share some of the photos that you sent me, which were actually one of my favorite ones that you sent. So I've seen a lot like of couple portraits that you've shared through social media. And particularly, I enjoyed these because you're not the very posy ones. These are more like candid shots. Can you tell a little bit about these specific sessions with these people?
Yeah, absolutely. So these were really fun to do. And this is pretty much the way that I approach every individual or couple that I go out and work with. To get these type of images, like I'll do some more standard posed ones, but what I'm really doing is I'm just getting the couple to interact with one another, or I'll say something goofy, just to get them not thinking about the camera. What I really like to do, and with both of these specifically, I told the couple, I'm like, okay, I just want you to talk to one another, like talk about your week, talk about what is going to be going on. And in their minds were very focused around that. And they stopped thinking about the camera. And I was able to get very real reactions of them being together as themselves, as anyone that would see them on any given day, and don't force it. And that, I feel, that's how I can bring out the most realism in a couple's photos. The hyper-posed ones are, yeah, they look pretty and you can hang them up and whatnot, but these are the images that mean the most to people. These are what I'm aiming for whenever I work with someone. And when we're doing image selections and stuff, these are always the ones that people will pause on longer, because they're seeing themselves in these moments. And I love that I can be there to capture that for them.
And I love that there's a vast variety of people that you have worked with. I'm not saying all photographers tend to have a specific demographic that they like to share when they share their work, but yours is very broad and very colorful and very indicative of how our actual community actually is. We're not all cisgender white couples. There's mixed race couples, different size body, mix and match couples, and it's very beautiful to see that. Especially some of the other work that I've seen that you share where it's more focused on like body positivity. And I remember the larger photo of the couple was on a project that you were working. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so that was from a project that I did with MeUndies. I had reached out to them and told them that, hey, I've got an idea for a photo shoot that I want to do. Would you want to sponsor it? And so they were more than happy to come on board and provide product and for the shoot, and we were able to create just these fantastic images because they this not a paid sponsorship, everyone, but like for me, the reason why I picked a company, and it's when any partner that I'm looking for, when I'm going to partner up with someone for my business, MeUndies is very body inclusive, and they have ranges that cover a very wide spectrum of body shapes and sizes. And they, in their marketing, not just in the month of June, but all year long, they feature LGBTQ couples in their work, and they feature interracial couples, and they are not, they're not one of those corporations that is very, oh, it's Pride Month, let's jump on that bandwagon and cash in on some of that money. No, they talk and spread a message of inclusivity all year long. That's just why I absolutely love them. They're the only company that I work with at this point because of that fact that they are inclusive no matter who you are. Like you are welcome, and that they are willing to show trans bodies, fat bodies, skinny bodies. It doesn't matter. Bodies that are deemed not good enough for general marketing, they'll show it on their social media and stuff. And I was just like, yes, this normalize the fact that we don't all have a size 2 waist and a perfectly ripped abs. Like that's just, unfortunately, that's what a lot of marketing has been. And that's why there's so much mental anguish that people have, because they're comparing what they see in the fashion and beauty industry as what's ideal. And that's, I mean, it's not that's not a truly obtainable thing for everyone, because the people that are in those type of campaigns, like that's what they do. Like they're working to maintain that specific look, and they're on very rigid diets and all kinds of stuff. Like it's not a true representation of what it means to be a human in this world, because there's so many different reasons behind why different bodies appear different ways. And it's that variety is what I absolutely love. If we all looked the same, it would be so boring.
And when I see you share what could be considered a very revealing photo of yourself, shirt open, to me, it looks like you have a look of confidence on your face. Whether that's true on the inside of who you were in that moment when you had that photo taken. Sharing our bodies is it's a very intimate thing, and especially to do it with people who are not our intimate partners in such a way as this photo, which is one of my favorite photos of you. Can you explain the idea that you had when you were like, okay, I'm gonna take this photo and I'm gonna expose myself in this way?
Yeah, absolutely. So this was actually every year on my birthday, I do a photo series for myself. And so this was actually from my 39th birthday. And I was getting ready. I was close to closing out 40 years of being on this planet. And I had struggled with self-confidence and self-esteem and liking my body when I looked at it. And so I was like, you know what? I want to do something that allows me to take ownership of my body and say, you know what? This is it. This is who I am. And I love this body. No matter what it looks like, it's mine and it makes me happy. And so that's really where this came from. And I mean, there would be people that would look at it and be like, oh, it's so gross, you're fat, cover up. What are you showing all of this for? Unfortunately, that negativity exists because fat phobia is a thing. And so that's one of the things that I try to bring education to help end, is stymie this fat phobia that has been so well crafted by the fashion and beauty industry over the decades that say if you are curvy in any possible way, if you have 1 ounce of fat on you, you're not good enough. And that's just not true. Confidence can be had at all sizes. And this is one of my favorite portraits I've ever taken of myself, because it was in that moment. This was when I really had a turning point and was like, no matter what I look like from this day forward, I choose to like my body. And I'm going to carry that confidence forward no matter what. If I gain weight, all the weight that I've lost, if I put it back on, I'm still going to like my body. And if I lose it all and I get down to 180 and have that perfect swimmer's build, I'm still going to like my body. And that was a very conscious decision that I made in that moment. And so that is where I try to come from with all of my messaging. And a lot of it also comes down to, if I'm asking people to be vulnerable and to accept themselves for who they are, but I'm not willing to walk that walk, then it's kind of hard to take my message to heart if I'm not willing to also do the things that I'm saying. So that was another big part of why I opted to go that route with that photo shoot.
Obviously, a lot of us have gone through a lot of changes the past year dealing with COVID, especially with our careers and personal lives, with so much change that isn't necessarily normal for anybody, let alone for a global event that COVID has been. What are some of the things that you're looking forward to as the people are being vaccinated, being out in public more, and soon I'm sure business is going to resume and people are going to want to start doing photo shoots to remember a plethora of different memories going forward. What do you look forward to the most in getting back behind the camera and working with these lovely people that you get to work with?
I mean, what I look forward to the most is just getting to capture those moments with people again, to document their lives for who they are. And be that if I'm working with a small business owner, to help create images for them to be able to show what they offer the world, or if I'm working with a couple, creating images that are very special to those individuals, which is why I love the human aspect of portraiture. It's why portrait is the route I opted to go with my photography work, is because I love working with people. I love talking with them and hearing their stories and seeing that expression cross their face when they look at a portrait of themselves. And it's the first time they really see themselves reflected back, what the world sees, and they're just letting all of those preconceived notions they've built inside themselves about what they think, who they think they are, and they finally see themselves for the truly amazing individual that they are. Because I truly believe that everybody is beautiful because everyone is unique and has their own, they are their own person, and that's what makes them beautiful.
Out of all the people that you shot, what's one that stands out the most to you in your work?
Oh, that's easy. There was a gentleman that I worked with early in 2020, before everything started shutting down, and he had had a portrait taken when he was younger, and he was like in the absolute best physical physique of his life. I think he was like in his early 30s, I believe. And he had this photo of himself hanging on the wall in his house. And so people would see it all the time. And it was a reminder of what he was. And he unfortunately was at some point in his life, he contracted HIV, and the meds that he had to go on wrecked his body. And these were the words that he told me as we discussed what he was wanting to do. And so he had this portrait hanging on the wall in his house, and it would have been about 30 years. And he's like, I want to recreate this moment. I have this photo of who I was, and I'm happy with who I was, but I love who I am now. And I want to recreate this image, to have it also hanging, to remember where I came from, but appreciate who I am today. And so we took the time. He sent me the image. I studied it. I pulled apart all of the way that the lighting was done, and I recreated the image. And we were able to completely redo the pose and everything. And as we were talking through, he was gonna just hang them both up in the house and whatnot. I told him, well, let's do something very special, because I know you're wanting to celebrate the past, but live and appreciate the future or the present where you are now. And so I did a custom frame job where we matted in the same frame the original photo that he had taken 30 years prior and the one that he and I worked on to recreate. And so hanging above his piano in his house now is this large wall print with the two side by side. And he just, when we did the unveiling and the pure elation that he expressed when he saw that, those are the moments. That's why I do what I do. When I see people see themselves and just fall in love with the person they are.
That's exciting to hear. Of some of the people that you've seen, like in the mainstream media, like celebrities, I guess you would say, who was somebody you would dream to work with, and in what capacity?
So in my younger days, I was a celebrity chaser. And I'm not, as I've gotten older and as I've gotten more into the photography industry and just the connections that I've made, I don't get quite as starstruck with celebrities anymore, especially with my work in the theater, because I've been able to work alongside some pretty big names, and I see them more as people. And so they're fun to work with, but honestly, who I really love working with the most are the people that need me, the people that are struggling with appreciating who they are. Those are really who I want to work with the most, to help them reach their full potential of appreciating who they are.
I have seen some of the photos that you have shared with the Turtle Creek Corral, I believe that's their name, right?
Yes.
Can you talk about how that part of your life, because obviously it's important because you're photographing it. I don't think you would be photographing it if it wasn't that. It was just, oh, it's just the thing I do. How has that escape artistically helped you, like, step away from your profession and reimagine, like, okay, this is obviously a different medium, and you do different things, obviously, with the different songs y'all choose, the different styles of performances and everything. How has that helped you explore more of your artwork in your photography?
I mean, it's allowed me to take a kind of a different approach to what I normally do. The helping helping to kind of shine a spotlight on the corral and help spread the message um, of education through the community. So I don't know that the two necessarily feed one another. They fulfill different aspects of it. I've been a musician since fourth grade. I don't know. It's been a couple of decades that I've been involved in music at this point, and so it allows me to be able to um, use a different talent, specifically my voice, to be able to help reach people and educate and change hearts um, in a way that like my photography may not. Music is super powerful. It exists um, in every continent, in every um, group of people that you find. Like music is a constant across humanity, and we are able to sometimes convey a message in a way that someone may not be receptive to through words alone. And so that's why, like for me, that's why I get so involved with music and helping use that medium to spread my advocacy for the LGBTQ community, for people to understand a little bit more about like what our struggles have been and help to at least change hearts and open eyes to something that people may not have otherwise known. So it's a different way for me to convey the same type of storytelling that I do with my photography, which is what I love about music.
Before we wrap up, is there a big project that you haven't done that you would like to do in the future? And
It's funny that you ask that because there actually is a project that I'm still putting the work together for, but I'm hoping very soon to start getting it, getting all of the pieces to lock in and get it rolling, to be able to put it out. So just a little snippet of what that is going to be is, as I have worked to become more and more educated and become more of an advocate for the trans community, I am working to put together a photo series where I interview people in the trans community, successful business owners, anyone that really wants to tell their story, to help educate those that want to know more about what is it like to live life through the trans experience, because it's not something that's covered in media unless we hear negative stuff about it. It's not something you ever are exposed to through TV, film, or any of that. So there's a lot of there's a lot of mysticism and clouded information around it, and a lot of misinformation because it's not mainstream. So that is the big project that I'm really looking forward to do, and letting the trans community tell their story to help educate, and then also to help to let those that are still trying to come to figure out who they are, that are in their early stages of figuring out their identity. Are they trans? How do they fall within the spectrum of it, but not necessarily seem like successful, like well-rounded, established people that they have as role models. So letting those voices be a beacon of hope to those that are still trying to figure out who they are.
That makes me actually really excited. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that series turns out. Keep me posted on that. I would love to see how it progresses and stuff. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I know you're a very busy guy, and the reason why I wanted to do these one-on-ones is because yeah, we're doing panel discussions also, but sometimes the best conversations, and not to take anything away from any panel discussions that we have had, the one-on-one conversations that we have with people, whether it's virtually or in person, those are some of the best conversations, and we learn so much about people and who they are in a way that's not interrupted by wanting to be respectful of other people around us and making sure that everyone is included. So I appreciate you being our first one-on-one conversation, and hopefully you can come back another time and discuss what's going on in your life or any big projects that you're working on. So I very appreciate the time that you've taken today with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it. And you know, I'm an oddity in the photography world in that I love being on camera. I love talking and spreading my message. So like any chance I get to talk to people about what it is that I do and why I do it, like I will jump on it in a heartbeat. It's shutting me up is the trick. Once you get me talking, I tend to just kind of yammer. So thank you very much for having me.
Before we go, I want to leave on a positive note. Not that this has been anything negative. Can you take us out with a positive message?
So remember that the troubles that you're experiencing, they're temporary. Life is ups and downs, that you're going to have days where things are going to seem like the world is against you, but it's a temporary moment. Tomorrow is a new day full of possibilities that there's no telling what amazing thing is just around the corner. So just keep persevering, keep your head up, let the highs of those really good days give you strength and energy to get through those low days, and just be amazing, because you know life is too short to live in a negative space. So just love and appreciate life. Dance like nobody's watching, or dance like everyone's watching. Just have fun, because that's what life should be.